just a few reminders and a few tips also. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Man sama Ramadan imanan wa ihtisaban, ghufira lahu ma taqaddama min dhanbi." Whoever fasts Ramadan, seeking full reward, with full faith and seeking full reward from his Lord, will have their past sins forgiven. A similar hadith also, "Man qama Ramadan imanan wa ihtisaban." Whoever stands the night in Ramadan, imanan wa ihtisaban, out of full faith and belief in Allah Azza wa Jalla. Meaning he's just not doing it because everyone's doing it or that's what's expected. Wahtisaban, seeking the reward with Allah, he will have his past sins forgiven as well. So, a number of things. First of all, coming to Taraweeh, we're coming, again, expecting this reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And many times people come to Taraweeh and they allow themselves to get distracted and bothered by simple things. One of the fights that happened in every masjid every year, the children are making noise, the children are this, the children are that. Yes, sometimes the children get out of hand, and in that case, the parents should keep them under control. But a number of points. Number one, if the children get out of hand, do not ever go to them and yell at them and reprimand them. Because this is the experience for many youth in the masjid. They're yelled at, they're frowned at by people, and then they start to dislike the masjid. And then we start saying our children are not attached to the house of Allah and pontificating and giving these speeches. So we might be the reason that made them not love the house of Allah. So if you're going to tell a child to be quiet, tell them with a smile or address the parents and have them deal with it. The second thing is, realistically, the children, the noise they make in the masjid is like the ticking of a clock, the clock in your bedroom. Some of us in our bedrooms, we have a clock. And sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night and you keep hearing this clock ticking non-stop. And if you focus on it, it becomes so loud and deafening and you wonder how you ever fell asleep with it on. And the minute you start to drift away and think about other things, it completely disappears. And for some people, they come to the salah and they say Allahu Akbar and they start listening for the youth. Because they're bored with the ayat, they're not interested in that. They just start listening for the children. Oh, he screamed, she screamed. And that's all they're doing, they're following. The same person right next to them never heard the youth. Why? Because he's so focused with the Quran. So focused. So if you ignore it, it will disappear. If you focus on it, that's all you will hear during the salah. So that's the first thing. And the second thing, if it does get out of hand, address them nicely or address the parents or let them make announcements. And don't let it be the number one issue. Number two, do pray in the masjid for Taraweeh. You come, you finish the complete salah with the imam. You get the reward of praying the night in prayer. As opposed to people who say, no, I'll pray home alone, and they get home, they go home, they get lazy. Perhaps 90% of the people who want to pray alone at home, they don't pray at all. So this, in the jama'ah, there's encouragement. So do come to the Taraweeh with the jama'ah. The other thing is, we want to make sure that we spend our time wisely during the day in Ramadan. So there are many families where the television will not come on for 30 days, the month of Ramadan. And you don't have to give up the haram only. We also give up, some people, if they give something up, it has to be haram. You can give up something halal for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. You can give up television. Young men give up video games. And sometimes you meet people in Ramadan, they're playing video games. Yeah. Alright? In Ramadan, they're playing video games. Give that up for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. And then take advantage of your time. Many people are waiting for big chunks of time so they can read a juz of the Quran or 3/4 of a juz and so on and so forth. But it's the moments. You have 5 minutes here, start reading immediately. Just open your phone, whatever, your book, read in this 5 minutes here, the 5 minutes there, on the bus trip there, and you will cover easily a juz a day. Easily, very easy. Don't expect to find a chunk of an hour and a half that's empty in your day. None of us have that. But take advantage of these minutes, 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there, and so on and so forth. And we've known people who would do amazing things in those moments. And there's a man in our day and age who works full-time and has a family who recites 24 juz a day.
Wow.
I personally know someone for over a decade who every 2 weeks will finish the entire Quran. And he's a super busy guy. Super busy guy. But he takes advantage of these moments. And then the last thing is that take advantage of any minute, because we spoke about this before, how your life is passing by, and the only way to take back your life is through making dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, and we mentioned that being engaged in tasbih, especially in Ramadan, we want to put effort into doing that. So we brought, I don't know if we have enough though. Does it look like there's enough? Yeah? Okay. So Brother Unib's going to just run down the aisle like this. We've got these, in Arabic they call it khatam al-tasbih. It's like the tasbih ring. They're tally counters basically. And they're really, really incredible. Just keep clicking away while you're driving, while you're having a conversation, and then you look at it suddenly and you'll find that in no time you said astaghfirullah 2,000 times. Or subhanallah, alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah 15,000 times, 10,000 times, 5,000 times in a normal sitting with brothers, dinner. They're talking, you're talking, and you're clicking away. So we brought, I hope there's enough for everybody, and the sisters are having some distributed. If we run out for brothers, we have some extra with the sisters, but they're all pink. That's the problem. So that will help you to make dhikr in concealment. Put it in your pocket and make dhikr because they're pink. Anyways, look, last thing I'm going to say, I heard this calculation from a brother last week. He said, if you look at how many days of the whole year you're fasting, it's 7% of the year. 7% of the year. If you get lazy, if you get tired, remind yourself it's 7%. If Taraweeh, and towards the end you see less people showing up, even though it's the more important time, remind yourself it's just 7% of the year. So we encourage ourselves just like the early Muslims would feel weak, and they would encourage themselves. Because we're human. You get tired, remind yourself it's only 7% of the year. Remind yourself to keep pushing forward for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. With that, Jazakumullah khairan. Sallallahu barak wa Muhammad. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.